So guys, I was lying in my bed the other night, scrolling through TikTok like I do, endlessly. And I kind of thought to myself for a minute, I caught myself scrolling and thought to myself, I can't be wasting my time like this every single night. Something has to change. And so I decided that I wanted to learn French all of a sudden, like that. I downloaded Duolingo and started learning French that night. The next night, I decided to do the same thing. And whilst I was learning my French on Duolingo, my brain told me, actually, I want to learn something else. And so I went to the list of languages and found Swahili. Now, bear in mind, I've never in my life ever thought about learning Swahili. I just saw it and decided, you know what? Let me learn Swahili.
I know one word in Swahili.
What's that?
Nakupenda.
You love now.
Yeah, I do love.
Well, honestly, I was really surprised at how easy and fun it felt to learn it. I don't know. Don't ask me to speak Swahili. I don't know anything. But anyways, I was in the middle of learning that. And I thought it was really fun. And then my brain suddenly told me, actually, how about you learn Chinese?
Huh. It's giving midlife crisis.
I mean, yeah, I actually haven't thought about that, but you have a point. But anyways, I just suddenly found myself learning freaking Chinese or switching to Chinese, and it was funny. I was laughing with myself like a crazy person. I was like, okay, this is fun. Let me continue doing this. And then, yeah, I found myself the night after that in the middle of Chinese. And then in the middle of it, I'll be like, actually, no, Swahili. And then, no, actually, French. And then I'll get a message from WhatsApp and I'll be responding to that. And then suddenly I remember there's like a video on YouTube that I didn't finish earlier. And then I'm on that. And you guys, I kind of caught myself in all of this and thought to myself, what is going on with my brain? Why am I unable to focus on just one freaking thing? Why am I jumping from A to B to Z in just a matter of it's not even hours, it's a matter of minutes. And I catch myself doing this a lot, even when I'm watching TV nowadays, I can't just be watching TV. I'll be watching TV, I'll be scrolling on my phone. And if I can't do both if I can't listen to what's on my phone and what's on TV at the same time, I'll mute one, but I'll be looking at the other one as well.
Is that a problem? I thought normal people do that because I do that.
Really?
Yes. I cannot watch TV without playing a game or something on my phone.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, this feels like really brand new territory because I feel if I just kind of look really back when, we didn't have all of these stimulants in our lives, I think I was able to focus on one thing.
I was.
Back in the day, we had just... Say what?
I actually remember being
Really?
Yeah, I'm having flashback to secondary school days. I could never focus in a 45-minute class till the end. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Random, but yeah.
But what would you do? You just drift off in thought?
So I think I've told you guys in high school, I was really one of the rebels and really naughty and everything. Again, maybe I had some issues that I just didn't know of. But yeah, I used to distract other people. So I was known as I think there was some I vividly remember one teacher would be he walks in and he would just tell me to go to the front and kneel because he just didn't have time to deal with me distracting everybody else. Yeah.
That's mad.
So yeah. But I don't know. I'm sorry to just jump in. When you were talking, I just remembered a while back. Do you guys remember this Netflix was it either a series or a documentary on how social media kind of how we're kind of wired now, you put your phone down but something just kind of pulls you to it, or you delete Instagram and then something kind of just pulls you to re-download. I think when you were talking, this is what I had in mind, but I'm not saying that's what it is, but there's also maybe some of that is true.
There definitely is. Witchcraft.
Yes, that's what it is.
What kind of witchcraft? Do you think it's like
Social media witchcraft? I don't know who's pulling the strings, but somebody out there.
It's crazy because I have freaking, I know that I'm addicted to my phone. I take my phone to the bathroom. I take it everywhere. Like I cannot not be on my phone, you know? And it just kind of scares me at this point because it's not just about being on my phone. It's just about not being able to focus on one thing. It's really hard for me. And I remember when I was younger, I was actually able to focus, you know, when I was in school. I used to do really well at just sitting in my room, studying, you know, just like not really caring, even if there was a program on TV, which back then, you know, there was just that one TV, you know, all watching on that one TV, you know, there was one phone in the house. Everyone got their calls on that one phone. And I was focused, but now, like, I don't know. And when I think back, I can actually remember the point in time where I started becoming distracted. And it was with like Facebook, with me discovering Facebook, and I was probably like 15 at the time or so. I just remember me suddenly being so invested in this thing. And back then it was just like talking to strangers, and I wasn't even talking to like people that I knew, but
Wow.
I was ready to sit on the computer all day and just be on this Facebook thing, you know? And yeah, like I'd be trying to study, but my head would be like, but I actually want to go to that group on Facebook and talk to people.
That's
So, yeah, so it's like, if you think about it, it's been something that our brain has been kind of programmed to be this way for a while now. It's not just, but it's getting worse. It's getting worse. And a lot of people are kind of self-diagnosing themselves with ADHD this day. You see it all over the internet. Everyone's saying that they cannot focus, that they're distracted, they have very short attention spans.
But I mean, I'm kind of scared of this self-diagnosis thing, but at the same time, it could be true. I'm pretty sure, especially like from just what you described in this day and age, I think we can safely say 80% of the time, those people self-diagnosing themselves, it's definitely true, because I think at this point it's just a pandemic, literally. Because I just remembered when Mariam was talking about her, and like when you were talking about your school experience, it's possible that I had the same problem, but I got ahead of it. So back in high school, I made it a personal rule to say when we are like picking seats at the beginning of the school year, I would always pick the front seat, because
That's so boring.
But I could not afford that.
I'm
because I
joking.
kind of knew.
I've given teachers like, you know, my thing is, even when I sat in front, like, because I think for us, we didn't get to pick, like we actually were assigned seats. So there were times where I would end up in front. Even then, like, I don't think that ever stopped me. Like,
Wow.
it just, yeah. But I think I'll say, this is weird. It's like a weird paradox. I had the privilege of being the naughty kid. So even if I was right in front and being silly, I was just like, yeah, it's just Mariam doing her thing again. So it's not something that, like, I needed to be extra conscious. Like, now I'm in front, I'm going to be right in front of teachers. They all kind of knew this girl is full of shit, so let her go on with her nonsense. Yeah.
And now that's level. Because for me, sitting in front would be like literally like pull me back. It would just put me in my place to say. Also, another thing that made me do that is because I do not like reading. I do not like studying. Like when I went to boarding school, right? You guys know by now. I did not like the whole vibe of I go back to the dorms and I'm studying extra. So I was this person, if it's being taught in class, I want to make sure I understand it there and then. So sitting somewhere else where I could easily be distracted would mean more work for me. And I did not want to do more work, you know. I just wanted to listen, understand, and get out. But also I think it's possible that I also then had ADHD. I don't know, because sometimes I would switch seats with some people, like for one lesson or so. And I swear to God, if I was sitting anywhere else, I could not concentrate at all. And with this whole social media thing, sometimes it's not even like you're paying attention to what's going on. Like okay, Hadi and I
scrolling.
we should just exactly we should just admit by now that we have ADHD, girl. Like,
but you guys know what type of like the symptoms, like again, not like the TikTok symptoms, but like what are like the actual symptoms of ADHD? Like how do you kind of like, what are some pointers? Because I actually don't know. I mean, I know the distraction thing, but like what, I'm sure there are like extra things that would make you now feel like, oh, okay, if I put these three things or four things together, then maybe I have ADHD.
Girl, honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't like know, but what people seem to say is you know, just being distracted, not being able to focus, being fidgety, feeling like you can't, you know, you can't be sat in one place for too long. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, that's just from what I've heard people saying. I would have to go and research some more on it to actually know the details.
someone said it's kind of like having a browser open. You have so many tabs open, and you are trying to navigate all of them at the same time.
Oh my God.
So same way you just described how. So you know how you can have your emails open. So you're thinking, oh, okay, I need to. An email pops, like the notification pops, like new email, blah blah. You're like opening it, trying to respond to it, and then but you're thinking, no, but my YouTube is now playing a song I don't want. You go to YouTube to change the song. Then you're like, but no, but I'm editing the podcast. No, I have to, you know. So it's kind of like that, and yeah, I think that kind of relates. That's one thing I've actually heard that relates to what I do sometimes. And if I'm to self-diagnose myself, I don't think I'm like that deep into it, because sometimes I'm able to like shut down everything. So I'm able to close certain tabs to say, you know what, YouTube, screw you, shut up. Or, you know what, podcast editing, I'll see you later. So, but at the same time, you can still see certain symptoms, like this thing of watching TV and you're playing a game. What the heck is that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just kind of, and I feel for me like it's getting worse. And I think that's why I'm noticing it more. But then it makes me think as well, you know, is it something that really is just influenced by social media and lifestyle? Or are there some like external influences? Is it just things that maybe I already had like a little bit off and now it's just gotten worse because of social media, or I don't know, internet, the world that we live in right now? I don't know, because there's another thing. Well, it's not ADHD, but it's OCD. And I feel I have developed some really freakish OCDs I would say actually it's been maybe like a year or two that I've been having like serious OCD, you know, and I don't really remember myself having it like this. Like I did have small things when I was younger, but it was never too deep. But now, like, so one of the things that I have is like my stove. You guys, before I go to sleep and before I leave the door, I have to like stand in front of my stove and just look and make sure everything. I swear, if someone actually sees me, they're gonna think I'm nuts, you know, because I just stand there. I'll just be making sure that everything is like closed, nothing is on, you know, and sometimes I wouldn't have even used my freaking stove all day.
That's what I was about to say. Like, especially in the morning, you didn't cook anything. You know that.
I cooked nothing, but I'll just be standing there and I'll be like counting. You know, like that TV show Monk? Sometimes I feel like I've started developing that guy's tendencies, you know? Like, I'll be looking and I'll be doing this with my hand.
Sorry.
Everyone hearing this is going to think I'm cuckoo, you know? In the head, which I do feel honestly sometimes. But one thing that I was saying, I did not have this, you guys. Like, this is brand new. Like, I would say in the last year or two that I started having this, and it was like small, and now it's like obsessive, you know? Child, I don't know.
It's the same time, like what you said with social media, right? I think some of these things, it gets pushed into our psyche. I don't know how to explain this, but like this thing with OCD, right?
Yeah,
I was only able to put a name on it because, first of all, me and you both hate with this OCD thing. But I was only able to put a name on it thanks to social media. Before that, I used to just think, you know what? I like order. I just want things to be a certain way. I just want things to look good. I just want things to look proper. That's what was going on in my head. I didn't think there's anything wrong with wanting my spoon to be like, the end of the spoon is like matching the angle of the table. I didn't think it's a problem. I just thought it looks nicer that way. I can't be having my fork like sitting crooked on the table while I'm waiting for my food. It doesn't make sense. Or I cannot have my cushions on my couch just like from small to big, or small, big, small. It just has to be big, small, small. I didn't think it's a thing. I just thought it's like, it looks good. But now, because of social media, you just start hearing, hey, OCD this, OCD that. And I'm just like, why are we putting names to things? And is it a bad thing? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I feel like you said, at least we know the names of things, and it also makes you feel like, okay, you're not alone. You go online and you see this. But then again, maybe if we didn't know these things existed, maybe we wouldn't notice them in ourselves. I don't know.
Oh, definitely.
I don't know.
Ignorance is bliss sometimes.
Exactly.
I have some contrarian thoughts. So I think my first question is, what does normal look like? Right? So are we saying there are people that can, for like, an hour straight, and just normally, like consistently for like an hour straight, focus on one thing? Like, is that what normal is? Like, because I'm also trying to, because I think that's the thing with like, how sometimes we say, for instance, there's not enough information about this, so there's not enough information about mental health, or there's not enough information about like pregnancy. Agreed, right? In some cases. But I also like believe in over information as well.
True.
Because there's a lot of times not ways for us to filter what's like correct and what isn't. So I think that's why I'm just thinking, so what does normal look like? Like, and this is why I was asking, what are like the symptoms? Like, I can't just be getting distracted, because I really don't believe that there are people that can just like for 2 hours straight just focus on one thing, right? There's this guy that that I like his work. His name is Nir Ayal. I think that's how it's pronounced.
Okay.
And he writes a book about this, right? Like trying to focus. I forgot the name now. I've read one of his books called Hooked, and in that book, he literally gives like tips about focusing, but even in the recommendations, it's like literally just to be able to focus for like 10 minutes at a time and 15 minutes at a time. So if that is, what someone that has done a bit of research is prescribing, is it really crazy that every 10 minutes we get distracted? Do you know what I mean? Like, is that really abnormal or ADHD? Because that's
And
kind of my
measures what's normal.
right? I'm just thinking like, so what would normal look like?
For me, it does feel abnormal, only because, like I said, when I look back when, I know that I was able to concentrate for long hours.
Really?
For
Or
whatever
just one thing?
I did. Yeah. I mean, mostly I would say studying or reading books, because back then I also used to read books, and like a day or two, I'll finish a whole book when I was younger.
Yeah, but then that's if the book is interesting, right? Would every single book hold your attention for like, for like a long time?
That's a good point.
Yeah. Because like, look, for instance, that's what we're doing now, right? Like, this is interesting to us, so we're like focused on this. Like, I don't feel the need to pick up my phone or feel the need to watch something else. So I think I'm just putting out like a contrarian opinion, right? I'm not saying it's not ADHD, but it's like, is it really so abnormal that if you're doing something? So for instance, I'm watching something on TV. It's honestly not that deep. We just all have Netflix and we pay for it, so we have to watch it, right? So some things we watch are not that deep or serious. It makes sense that maybe a chat with a friend was more interesting at the time, and I'm doing both. So again, for me, that doesn't seem too abnormal. But obviously, like, sorry to shade you, but jumping from French to Swahili to like sounds a bit crazy. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, it's sometimes a little bit scary to like, follow all the noise of like, every single thing. Because I also think of young people, right? Think of like a 15-year-old that is probably, just being quote unquote normal, now feeling like she has ADHD or he has ADHD just because TikTok said XYZ. Do you know what I mean? I think that's why I'm kind of like just asking these questions?
That is such a good point, because also who determines what's normal and what isn't?
Thereabouts, yeah.
Just going back to the example of OCD, like I was describing to you guys, that before I could put a name on it, it wasn't a problem. It's only now that I feel bad, because I do this also when I'm in people's spaces, right? So not just random people, but people I'm close to. So like my partner or a friend that I'm that close to. If I see something out of order, out of place in their space, I feel the need to just correct it, right? So for example, when I'm at my partner's place, I'm constantly cleaning sometimes because I'm always seeing dirt, right?
Look at you being all wife material and shit.
That's the thing. I mean, that's the thing. With me, it's not even being wifey material, right? But it's because like sometimes I spend 3 days at a time in his space, and I'm not gonna spend all those 3 days feeling like that little corner is full of dust, and because it's gonna bother me. So before this whole OCD, putting a name on it thing, doing things like that will feel like I just like cleanliness, I just like order, period. Mm-hmm. But now, thanks to the internet, now I just start feeling like I have a problem. Like even the other day, he was busy telling me like, oh, so you say my cleaning is not like up to standard and whatnot. And I'm like, no, it's good. But I mean, I'm seeing the dirt in the corner. So I hate to be made to feel like I have a problem. I mean, it could be a problem, but is it really that deep? Like, is it that big a problem? Unless it's like a thing where this ADHD thing literally, because I've heard stories of people like it literally paralyzes you. So going back to the analogy of tabs, you end up like not getting anything done because you're constantly changing, like switching to this, to this, to that. So in certain cases, it actually kills productivity, right? But for some people, it makes them productive. It's a bit slow, but you're still productive. At the end of the day, you still get what needs to get done. It's just slower than an average person. So when it's like that, I then ask myself, is it that deep such that you have to like constantly make it a problem or constantly be made aware of it? So I don't know where I stand with this whole social media diagnosing people. I think sometimes it can actually be detrimental to society, but for some people it's actually good because they're able not to discover and put a name to what they suffer from.
Yeah, I feel like the lines have kind of become blurred between what's actually a problem and what isn't. And so maybe most people, it's just the new normal instead of saying that it's an actual problem. But then that doesn't take away from the fact that for some people it might be a problem. And I guess, I don't know. I think if you by yourself feel like you're troubled by your own behaviors or what you've developed, like you said, if it's paralyzing you, then I guess, then that's when it might actually be a serious issue. True. But I honestly, Varo, I wish I had your like kind of cleaning OCD, if you to call it an OCD.
Tell me about it.
I would say that at least it's something that makes sense. I feel like mine just makes no freaking sense, yo. But yeah.
Talking about
it's a lot of work.
You know what I always like? Sometimes I talk to... So, again, there's the thing with the internet. I feel like, the internet is such a blessing. Please let nobody say that I'm speaking ill again. Like, the internet has done a lot of good, but it's also done a lot of weird things. So, it's like, you know, sometimes when you watch this, like, organizing content, like, you know how some people just, like they organize their fridges, they organize their whole lives, basically.
That's too much.
Their whole existence organized. They have containers for every single thing, and it's like, you know, with the click click click, you know, sound.
I grow milk. They actually pour milk out of the carton
into another container. You know this? I don't know his name. There's this funny like British guy, I think, that talks about like, you know, he like kind of shades them about like people that have to have different shapes of ice and they have to like organize it.
Oh, I
forgot the name of his handle. But yeah,
like the one who goes your paw.
Yes, the paw.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
And you love him.
You know, I'm just like, when I see that, and obviously, don't get me wrong, I've bought containers because of these people. I have.
And they're empty.
He's not in it, so I try, but my things don't look like theirs. But I have containers, they're labeled, all of that stuff. Because it looks really cute, right? But then I had to ask myself, are we maybe letting people with some type of disorders dictate the way we live? Making us maybe not normal anymore?
I swear to God.
That's a good point.
Like, some people be staining their beds.
Loki has OCD that has maybe not been diagnosed, and this is what makes sense to them, that they have to pour their milk out of a box into another box, or their juice out of a bottle into another bottle. It was perfectly fine in the first bottle, but it has to, be labeled and aesthetic whatnot. What if that's some type of OCD? And I'm here thinking, oh, this is so cute.
It's cute.
And I want to buy all these containers. First of all, it costs so damn much. Second of all, it's so impractical. Like, you don't know how many impractical, but let's look at it. That's another episode.
But that's actually a very deep thought,
It is. Because, when you're talking about that, but like you say, we'll talk about it. I was just thinking about those perfume buyers, perfume collector people.
Oh, I don't know these ones. Please tell me about them.
Cabinet upon cabinet upon cabinet.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I know what you mean. Do you know Fumi Monet?
Yes. Oh, she had... That that's like my whole apartment.
Yeah. I'm not going to say too much, but yeah, I know what you mean.
So, like you're saying, I'm like, it's okay if it's your thing, right? If it's your thing to like take out the spice out of the original container, put it in a labeled paprika container, pepper container, blah, blah. That's okay. But like you're saying, when you were talking, I was just thinking to myself, look at capitalism rearing its ugly little head. Because at the end of the day, it's giving, I think it's called consumerism.
Yeah,
like, all being pushed into this thing. Like, okay, so for me, it's like with this OCD thing, right? If let's say I have it, maybe I do have it. But like I was saying, and I cannot stress this enough. In my head, I just take it as I'm an orderly person. I love order. And like you're saying, Hadi, you wish you could do that. But trust me, on some days when I'm in a depressive mode, I'm not like that. So like, I'll just remove myself.
State of mind is state of house.
Exactly. But so if I had OCD, I think I would be level 1. And then there are those people who pour milk out of the carton. I don't know, that's like level 5 or 6 or something.
Like so level 100.
When we're self-diagnosing, let's put levels to this thing, because I there's no way I'm removing milk from its Aldi glass or carton to put it in the clear one.
Well, it's never done the milk one. But I do like fruits, like berries. I take them out of the...
Child, they started washing berries with fucking soda.
Done this.
What? Baking soda?
Yeah, so girl, let me tell you about it. So you
what does it do? Like just to clean it or what?
It removes apparently all the gunk of like I think like pesticides that are used in. So yeah, I've tried the baking soda one, but then yesterday I saw another one. It's vinegar and water.
I saw that.
No, you guys obviously know I follow this content a lot because this is all that has been suggested to me. All the organizing things, all the So now you put your berries in water and then put in some vinegar, and it's supposed to like cleanse it so it never goes bad. So I'm gonna try this because the baking soda one didn't help. It still went bad. So I'm just like, such a waste of time and baking soda. So now I have to try the vinegar one, see if it works.
But will it taste normal though?
Oh, did it taste normal? Yes, it was fine. I also was scared it would have like a bitter taste, but it was fine. It was fine. But maybe also because I I rinsed it like very compulsively after.
I mean, honestly, screw all of that. Yeah. I think some of this gunk, some of these bacteria and whatnot, I
think we need that in our body.
Yeah. Y'all can miss me with that. Like Hadia said, like some of it can really be too much.
Yeah.
And I would just hate. And also the one thing about the internet and these algorithms, you watch one of those videos to the end, that's the one thing they're gonna keep pushing. So now I'm starting to feel like I'm eating dirt because I don't wash my strawberries with soda or freaking vinegar.
Yeah.
Nah, I need that in my body. It's like I don't know, strengthening my immune system and whatnot. Just let us be. I cannot with this generation sometimes.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know, all of this talk about these influencers and the people organizing things, it made me think of one person. You guys definitely know, like Jackie Aina, I think her name is.
Yeah.
I don't know how related this is, but I just remembered her. Whenever I see her content, it just always makes me think about my life because she lives in such a nice house and she's so fancy schmancy. And I remember because I've watched her for years actually, and I've kind of seen how her life has, gone up. And I think with social media, you keep on seeing people and their lifestyles and it makes you want more. And I don't know, like, because I've had times where, when you want more in terms of money and trying to work harder. And I don't know if all of this somehow falls into the box of us kind of seeing things and trying to emulate them. I don't know. Like, how do you guys feel about that?
I think, okay, so let me tell you guys something that I once did that proved to actually be very healthy for me. I did a social media detox because, like you're saying, it's good watching the Jackie Ainas of the internet, right? Steaming their beds and whatnot. It looks good. But at some point, I start feeling inadequate. I start feeling like I'm not doing enough in life. I'm not enough in life, right? Because I'll be thinking, okay, how did she get to where she's at? Literally just a camera and some lights and at some point a microphone. And you know what I'm saying? And these are things that are also accessible to me. And it feels like a lot of pressure. And at some point, I just did a social media detox and I deleted all my apps, these scrolling apps. And I just told myself at that point also, I was trying to focus on writing short stories. So guys listening, I write short stories from time to time. So that time I was just trying to work on that. And it was probably the best thing I've ever done for myself because at some point, like in the beginning, it's almost like I think, okay, I've never been addicted to drugs, but this is what I think it's like. When you're addicted to something, right, you have withdrawal symptoms right in the beginning of like detoxing the body. It felt like that. I felt like something is missing. The scrolling was missing, right? And what I did for myself was go on Pinterest. Shout out to Pinterest because Pinterest is the social media app without the socializing. I love it. And on Pinterest, I would just be looking for funny quotes or anything that's just like not an opinion or someone doing someone doing too much, right? So the scrolling was there, but this feeling of being inadequate was gone. At some point, I was actually able to even let go of Pinterest. And that was so good. I managed to write the story in a space of like 3 days, I think. 3 to 4 days, I was done with it. And I was so proud of myself. I was so happy. I was even more energetic. I was even ready to hop on to the next story, But I mean, things happened. I found myself going back to social media. But someone also said something that made so much sense to me, that it's not normal for this day and age, that it's not normal that you open an app and you literally, in a space of 1 hour, you have hundreds of opinions and hundreds of things pushed into your psyche. It's not normal. So at the end of the day, who are you without other people's opinions?
That's so
right.
True.
Without other,
yeah.
Because sometimes when something is trending, right? When a story is trending, let's take for example the Risa Tisa story. You start listening to this story, and in your head, before you open the comment section, you have an opinion already. But how many times does it happen to you guys, and you guys listening also, how many times does it happen to you that when you open the comment section, your opinion changes? Because now you saw someone who said something and you're like, oh, that's so guilty.
Yeah.
It's also okay to change your opinion because someone said something or like put it in a way that you hadn't seen it before. But at the end of the day, who are you? What's your opinion before someone suggested something to you? So, okay, now I'm rambling. ADHD.
You're not.
Rocking
very valid. No, you're making a lot of sense. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's kind of like,
actually deep.
Who are you? What's your opinion before someone tells you what they think?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can have a problematic opinion, but own it. It's your opinion before someone else's opinion changes your mind. you know? So I fear that as a people, at some point, we're going to get to a point where you can't make your own decisions without certain influence. You can't have your own opinion on things without influence from others. So going back to the point, social media can make or break us, but at this point, I just feel like it's breaking us more than it's actually making us. And
I think so.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, first of all, hashtag she's a writer.
Hashtag she's a writer.
I mean, girl, look at me saying who. Yeah, girl. I mean,
I definitely like. I think it's what you said. Like, the thing of you open social media, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, and it's not even just the opinions, but it's also the amount of information that's just thrown at you. Because think about like back in the day, everything was limited. So back in the day, you had magazines, but it was limited because it just had, you know, a certain number of pages. So they can't put like, you know, 50 million stories in it at the same time. It's probably just like 10 stories. They get into it. Same thing when you listen to the news. Same thing when you watch like gossip columns on like E or something. So everything was kind of limited. But with with TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, it's literally just a bottomless pit of so many different things. Like 1 minute you're watching like organizing videos, the next minute you're watching like people talking about like weight and gut health, the next minute you're watching about fashion, makeup. Like it's just so endless. And you know, in like you said, in the space of 1 hour, because we like mindlessly scroll, we just take in so much. And I think, again, I don't know, but I just have a feeling it has to be a little bit unhealthy for the mind, you know, to just have that much information thrown at you at the same time. My God, I feel like we've just gone in a strange direction.
No, but it's true.
Yeah.
I think it's actually, it all relates, because at the end of the day, if we circle back, maybe our ADHDs, our OCD diagnosis, all of this, it does have to do with our overstimulated brains, you know, maybe it really does. So I guess at the end of the day, if you recognize something isn't right with you, or you're just, you know, you catch yourself, I guess you just have to kind of take a step back, try to limit, you know, your content consumption. I don't know, baby steps to kind of change lifestyle, because right now, internet is not going anywhere. Social media is not going anywhere. We're just going to go deeper and deeper into it. So I guess we're just going to have to find ways to cope so that we are not completely changed into these creatures that are just, you know, forever distracted, forever unable to focus, forever, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like my brain is broken, y'all, but...
I don't know who needs to hear this, but sometimes you just have to remember that we are getting dating advice from freaking 10-year-olds on the internet. What? Because some of these accounts don't even have face.
Wow, sorry.
No, but like okay, those faceless accounts, like giving relationship advice. How do you know this person is qualified to be giving that advice? Some of these people are freaking 10-year-olds just having fun on the internet. Some of these people who are pushing these things to you as if you need them, they're getting paid for all of that. So do you really need that, or you're just being forced to need it? Do you really have ADHD? Do you really have OCD? Do you really have some form of disease that the internet is saying you have? Or someone is just trying to, I don't know, trend or just be philosophical or just be this person? So I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, child, I don't have OCD. I don't have ADHD.
I'm pretty sure you do, but okay.
Not you bursting my bubble, like.
Joking. Yeah. I mean, I think for me, like, because we definitely can't like dismiss the fact that some people do have or struggle with like you said, right? For some people, it's become difficult for them to function, right? Just because of like the distractions or like the OCD. I can't work till my table is a certain way, and then you waste all the time fixing your table. So for that, right? I think I'm not in any position to give any advice on stuff like this. I'm not like in a medical person. This is no professional advice. But if I just think about it, I think it will be the same question I asked in the beginning. What are some of the symptoms? The truth is, If something is actually wrong with you, it's not just one indicator. There are probably like 2 or 3 things that are coming together. So it'll be good to actually find a way to get yourself diagnosed. If you feel like, oh, maybe I do have ADHD, find a way to get yourself diagnosed. Again, we can't speak to a lot, but if you're in Germany, a good way might be to start with your house art, bring it up, say, I feel this way, I've read these things on the internet, what do you think? They could have some advice for you, or they could refer you to someone, right? So I remember bringing up, so I had like, again, I'm going through my emotions with my weight. So I didn't know where to start from. And I brought it up with my house arts to say, I see all these things on the internet, Ozempic, this and that. What would you advise? Obviously, she was like, please don't ever take any of those diabetic drugs for your weight loss. But she gave me like how do you say recept? Prescription. Yeah. So she gave me like would you call it prescription in this case? Well, she wrote like a recommendation for me to take to another doctor that could help me with like nutrition and things like that. So that could be one way, right? So it'll be good to like at least try to be sure, so you don't just kind of, in case there's just nothing wrong, right? At least you can eliminate it and know, okay, I just need to do a good job at ignoring things, right? And if there is something wrong, you could actually now be on your way to, recovery, or at least managing whatever you're dealing with. Just so that it's not like we're just, kind of going on about it, because I know some people could really be struggling.
Yeah. And my closing remarks, child, like, I'm just going to literally like co-sign on what Mariam said. Guys, go to a health professional, get yourself truly diagnosed, because come on, if you Google a symptom, headache or something, Google is going to tell you died 3 days ago. So just see a health professional and just stop listening to people on social media telling you have this and that. Don't even listen to us like what we're just saying in this podcast. These are like opinions, right? Yeah. Don't use this as a measure of what you have or what you do not have. Go see a professional if something is actually crippling you and making you less productive, and it's actually really affecting you, or you feel like it's getting to a point where it may start affecting you in a certain way. But we're not doctors, we're not health professionals. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Some of the people online are not as well. So, start from there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess that is kind of a good wrap up for this. And I think a lot of people will be able to relate to it, I'm really sure. So if you do relate and you have something that you want to tell us about, you have a story, we have a form. You'll find it on our Spotify page. And we'll link it also to this episode. Yeah, that was a good one, guys.
Yeah, definitely.